to Unlocked with our very special guest. This is our second episode of Unlocked since we did the name change. Very happy to welcome Josh Alexander of Impact Wrestling. Josh, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I've got a lot of things that I want to ask you, and I'm going to save some of the best stuff for last, especially the recent Option C dropping the X Division title to be able to go up against Christian Cage. But I'm gonna back up a little bit here because that's exciting, and you got a lot of things going on, Josh. You are, last time we spoke with you from Wrestling Travel, you had the outstanding match against TJP this summer. Can you talk about that and some of the comments and what you overall thought of that finished product of that match, because it was outstanding?
I would say it's probably the best match I've ever had in my career when you take in all the factors that are involved. Like a 60-minute Ironman is, to me, the most physically and mentally grueling thing you can do in pro wrestling. I think it's the biggest and hardest challenge you can have in pro wrestling, and to go out there with TJP and to come back out of it exceeding our own expectations like we did, it's something I look back on fondly now that it's over with. Definitely in the moment, it wasn't all that awesome, but it's probably the best match I've ever had in my career to this point. And it was definitely the springboard that got me to the point now where, handing over the X Division title for Option C, like, I think people are ready for what can possibly be like a bigger step for me. And just the feedback from that match and like all the buzz that was wrapped around what came out of that match. Like, I know that it wasn't reviewed by PWI, but other places reviewed it as a 5-star match. And there's only ever been one 5-star match in Impact Wrestling before that one, if that one's going to be recognized. So like that kind of meant a great deal to both of us, I think. And, like I said, it was the springboard for everything that's like happening right now.
It's awesome when you look back on it. And I know you're not at a point in your career where you're like, hey, I'm going to look back and rest on my laurels, but it's got to be nice knowing that that's in the back there, that's a match that's going to be there for the rest of time for you and both TJP to look back upon.
Yeah, when you do a match like that, like the one thing I was very happy about was when they put the full thing up on YouTube with no commercial breaks, because it's just something, like, you put that much work into something, you just want to make sure that it's going to be remembered and seen in full for the rest of time. And now that it's on YouTube, it's going to live forever. So
yeah, fantastic. Speaking of YouTube, really quick, Impact Insiders on YouTube, and also the Impact Plus app, which I'm a huge fan of, which back in my day, we did VHS tape trading to try to find matches. But what is it like now being able to have at your fingertips on any device, to be able to look back at the Impact catalog at your fingertips? And if I may ask, what are some of the matches that you might go back in history and look up?
Oh, I do this all the time. I will every like other day, I will do an hour of cardio, and I have to watch wrestling when I do cardio just to make the suffering seem a little bit less. So I'll pull up the Impact Plus app, and like I think yesterday I actually watched Christian winning his first Impact World Championship against Jeff Jarrett at Against All Odds in 2006. So like, I'm doing a little study of my opponents at the same time. Like, I go back and I watch. There's countless stuff. Like, I'm a big fan of the Wednesday night stuff. So like episode 2, when they crowned the first ever X Division champion, you go back and you watch like that 5-star match I talked about, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels, Unbreakable 2005. Like, there's just this enormous library that's been compiled over the last 19 years in Impact Wrestling. And plus there's even more. Like, if you want to see New Japan stuff, like, you can see all my matches from Strong that are on there. You can see stuff from the Good Brothers in New Japan. You can also see stuff from independent wrestling that is put up on the app. And like, it's just to have it at your fingertips and to be able to go through the library and pick whatever you want at any time and watch it as many times as you want. It's awesome. And I have a 3-year-old son that's completely obsessed with me. So he has it on his tablet and he can just search me out now and find me whenever he wants. So that's even cooler.
How awesome is that? Yeah, back in the day when I had to wait on eBay to see if the VHS was even going to arrive, it's an amazing app, and the Impact Insiders on YouTube is just another avenue for fans, especially fans over where we're based out of the United Kingdom. just to be able to access. Because I know the knock had been on some pro wrestling, like I can't find it on my provider. Well, now we don't have to worry about that. We've got the app, we've got the YouTube. Impact is everywhere. You mentioned a couple things there. Christopher Daniels. What's it like now? Now I see Christopher Daniels has returned back to Impact, showed up there. And also the second part of the question, you're in a really good space at Impact. Not that I ever doubted it, but now look at partnering up with, you've got All Elite Wrestling, AAA, New Japan. It's Impact is the right place at the right time right now.
I mean, yeah, that relationship that you keep with other companies, it just breeds for, I think, interest from fans, because there's so many different matchups that can happen, and whether they happen or not is a different story. But there's a possibility, a very strong possibility of those matches happening now, which is going to garner even that much more interest. But yeah.
Awesome. So what's it like now working? Christopher Daniels showed up the other day on Impact. What's that like for you as somebody who has gone back and obviously a fan of the history of wrestling and Impact?
I mean, I was honestly shocked to see him show up in the Impact Zone, because like I hadn't known that, I thought he might be inactive or retired or, quietly bowing out for a different position in wrestling or something like that. And then he showed up ready to go and looking exactly like Christopher Daniels from 16 years ago in that match at Unbreakable. And like, it just blew me away. And then I'm thinking like, man, I want to wrestle this guy. Like that was the first thing that went through my mind. So just because I'm such a fan.
I could imagine what a classic you guys get put on. Before I get to the current stuff, I want to back up. You Wrestling Travel, we actually sponsored Bound for Glory, the road to Bound for Glory, back in 2019. And that was back before I had the Impact Plus app. And it was the first time I really got a chance live in Chicago to see you in Ethan Page as the North. Even though you guys have been champions for a while. And I got to say, as a fan of the business, just the match that you guys had, I believe it was Rhino, Rob Van Dam. It was like a 3-way or 4-way. It was just outstanding. When you go back and think of Josh Alexander, you're a great singles wrestler, but that tag team, I put that tag team up against anybody. In fact, there's a team that's called the Kings of the North out of my friends in the UK. So, they're the best. And I'm like, hey, they always give me a lot of stuff because I was pushing the North before the North were cool, I guess. So when it's all said and done, tag team or singles wrestler, what's your preference?
Oh man, that is a tough question. Because like the thing with me and Ethan Page in the North, like that chemistry does not come along very often. There's good tag teams out there, but just have the chemistry we have where like I knew exactly what he was thinking and he knew what I was thinking at all times. And it was never an uphill climb when we were together as a tag team. So it made things that much easier. And it's very difficult to stand out as a tag team like that. But I'm really enjoying this singles run because it just puts the pressure solely on myself. Rather than in a tag team where I can kind of share the responsibility. So it's definitely motivated me, and it's just I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's definitely made me challenge myself even more. It's been something that's made me grow, and just it's been like 9 months, 10 months, and look at how far I've come as a singles wrestler in Impact Wrestling. Whatever. So like it's tough for me to say that singles wrestling wouldn't be my preference because I've seen how much I've grown in this short period of time, and I'm just very curious to see what will happen in the future if I keep going.
Well, like I said, the first time I saw you guys live in Chicago, Bound for Glory, I've been in the business since 1997, and that was one of the first times that I'm going, wow, where did that come from? I didn't expect. I mean, it was, as somebody who's watched it and been a fan and been in pro wrestling, watching you guys for the first time was like having fresh eyes in your moves, everything coming. I mean, it was awesome. I was instantly a fan of both of you, and hopefully maybe someday down the road, before it's all said and done, we get a reunion. But yeah, let's talk about your singles career coming up here in the last 9 months. How important? First of all, congratulations, because as of September 1st on Twitter, you are no longer, you are concentrating fully on professional wrestling. What has that been like?
It's been a weird adjustment because like I have to preface this by saying like I had a lot of negative comments out there saying like, oh, this guy's not getting paid enough or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. I live in a city where a modest home costs $1 million. I have two children and I have a wife that doesn't work because I have children, and I have crippling anxiety of responsibility where I just don't want to do anything without a security blanket. So that's why I always burn the candle at both ends and had this job, even though I probably could have quit years ago. But really, it's been this weird adjustment because, as I said, burning the candle at both ends, I was so used to just going 100 miles an hour nonstop, just like to the point where my body was used to it. You know, I was in this routine, and then I've kind of upset the routine this last month by, you know, being able to sleep in past 3:30 in the morning, or doing having time to do these other things that I never had time for before. So it got to a point in the middle of the month where I was just like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Like it was this weird like mental game of like, I should be doing more, shouldn't I? And like, it's just been this strange adjustment, but it's definitely, you know, it was definitely the time to make that leap and finally do it, because you know, I think me concentrating on just being a pro wrestler is something that I need to do, especially at this time, leading into Bound for Glory on October 23rd.
October 23rd, and it is in Las Vegas. So talking about you're traveling outside of the Nashville area. How excited are you for that?
I'm so excited to get, not that I don't love Nashville. I love Nashville, but we have spent the entire pandemic in Nashville. So now to get out of Nashville, go to Las Vegas, see new fans, you know, of Impact Wrestling out there in a bigger venue. So even more fans, you know, just to be traveling again, because as wrestlers, like you get used to the travel after a certain period of time. So not being able to do it has been something that's kind of been sorely missed by me. And I'm just excited, you know, I'm bringing my family down for the show. So I'm finally getting them out of the house after kind of like 2 years of being stuck in the house. So it's going to be a nice little, you know, trip for everybody. So
fantastic. And of course, you chose option C. So relinquishing the X Division title and going for the Impact World Championship against Christian Cage, which that to me, that's going to be, I can't wait to see what two wrestlers of your guys' caliber put together. But what are you looking forward to? I mean, if you achieve this dream of the Impact World Championship, which I tell you what, you deserve it. You deserve this opportunity, and I can't wait to see this match. But what is next? You achieve this dream and you defeat Christian Cage. What is next? And then on the opposite, do you even think about what now I've relinquished the X Division title and for some reason I come up short? Can your brain even go there right now?
I mean, I can't think about either of those really, because I'm only thinking about what's lying ahead of me. And right now, all it is Christian and that world championship on October 23rd. Like giving up the X Division title, completely bittersweet. You know, I love the X Division. I especially love this run I was able to put together rather this last 6 months. And, you know, I wanted to go down the history books as one of the best X Division champions of all time. And I think I got pretty close if I did not do that. And I just looked at, you know, Christian Cage, that world championship, knowing I've been around for 16 years and opportunities do not come along every single day. And if I'm going to challenge myself and see if I'm going to be a main eventer, see if I'm going to be able to be a world champion, I want to do it against one of the very best of all time. And I think, you know, challenging Christian Cage on the biggest stage in Impact Wrestling in the main event at Bound for Glory there's no bigger way to do that. Like I was saying, I enjoy the pressure. I enjoy the challenge. I like to see if I can rise to the occasion. I've definitely put an immense amount of pressure on myself for this match. I've literally risked everything for it. So, I mean, we'll find out October 23rd if I'm able to rise to the occasion. If I can, it'll be that much sweeter. If I don't, I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and you know, figure out a new plan.
How extra sweet is that going against a fellow Canadian in the biggest stage of your career?
Not just a fellow Canadian, but one that, you know, came from a town 10 miles up the road from where I grew up. One that, you know, when I was 10 years old, I saw hailing from Orangeville, Ontario, and went, hey, if he can go from like just down the street and to there, maybe I can do that. You know what I mean? And then seeing the run he put together, and then just him coming to Impact Wrestling in 2005, betting on himself, taking that risk, being like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can be a world champion. I'm going to prove all you guys wrong. I am a main event talent. I am one of the best wrestlers in the world. And then he did prove that. Now he's coming back full circle. And now I have the same chip on my shoulder that he had then. So I think the story like fits together perfect. And just to be able to challenge Christian Cage, man, it's going to be an honor and a privilege. And it's going to be a good night at work for me.
Fantastic. And just a couple more questions, as I want to be respectful of your time. You've been in the business a while. I was just wondering, could you let some of the aspiring wrestlers and fans out there, what are some of the best pieces of advice, or the best piece of advice that you were given in the business?
My trainer told me first day, he said, eyes and ears open, mouth shut. And he said it with such ferocity and intimidation that literally I don't think I opened my mouth for 6 months. I was afraid to even ask a question. It was this strange thing, but like I've really applied it in all facets of my life, because I think a lot of people are just like so eager to ask a question before they really digest and really observe what's going on or what they're being taught in that moment. So like now, even in locker room and stuff like that, I'm a people watcher. I'm the quiet guy that's gonna like read the room. And I've applied it to all aspects of my life, but I think that's the best advice that most people can be given, because especially in today's day and age, like as somebody who's run a wrestling school myself, I think people are more curious in asking a question to be given, you know, positive reinforcement than to just learn what they're learning. And it's benefited me tenfold. So like that first and foremost, that would be the best advice I was ever given.
And then my other question here, we are Wrestling Travel out of the United Kingdom. Of course, we bring fans from all over the world to their favorite wrestling events. Now, the world, especially starting here early November, has it that the world is going to start opening up for travel again. Are you excited to get on the road and get out of the U.S. and get into some going across the pond, maybe to the United Kingdom? Where are some of your favorite places to wrestle in the world?
I mean, I have not traveled outside of North America too often. I came over to the UK, I think it was 4 years ago now, 2018, I think, 3 years ago now, for Southside Wrestling, Progress Wrestling, Kamikaze Pro, I believe. You know, and I did a 10-day tour, and it was awesome, and I would love to go back at any time. Now, you know, after nearly 2 years of not traveling and having all those things not be a possibility, now the possibilities are kind of, you know, opening up again, like you said. And I would just jump at any opportunity to come over to the UK, because especially since I've been in Impact Wrestling, I've never been able to go over, and there's such a huge fan base for Impact Wrestling, as I found on social media, interacting with all these different fans that I've gotten over the last 2.5 years. It would be awesome to go over there, perform in front of them live, whether it be at any show or we can get Impact Wrestling to go over there as a whole.
Absolutely. It's so weird that prior to the way the world's been the last couple of years, that we didn't look at travel as like such a big deal, and now it is huge. One final question, and I'm going to take it away a little bit from Impact, but in a couple weeks I will be seeing you in Chicago at Warrior Wrestling. What is it going to be like to and I imagine this is not the first time, but Bret the Hitman Hart is going to be there. So I mean, you're having one heck of a month here. So what is that like to be able to, you know, Impact Wrestling and the schedule allows you not to only to work with the partners, AEW, AAA, New Japan, but to be able to get out on the independent scene, which is thriving out there in the U.S. What is that going to be like for you?
I mean, I met Bret Hart about 10 years ago, and I just said hi and bye. And like this time, I'm just going to say, I'm definitely getting a picture with him. I'm definitely going to let him know that he's my favorite wrestler of all time, because I might never get another opportunity to do so. So like that's, first and foremost, that's what I'm looking forward to the most out of that day. And the second thing, I'm wrestling an independent wrestler by the name of Calvin Tankman. He's actually an MLW right now, and I think he's one of the most, awesome big men in all of professional wrestling right now. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, Bret Hart for sure. Like, as him being my number one, being a Canadian kid coming up, like, I'm going to make the best of that situation.
Fantastic. Well, we wish you the best of luck, not only coming up against Calvin Tankman, but especially in Las Vegas, the 17th, Bound for Glory, yourself versus Christian Cage, and we are looking forward to it. And we cannot wait to see you come back to the UK. So Josh Alexander, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Experience Impact Wrestling like never before with instant access to all of your favorite episodes of Impact, Explosion, Greatest Matches, Legend, content from promotions around the world, plus live monthly exclusive premium specials and so much more.
This is spectacular! What a match!
The Impact Wrestling app has you covered with Impact Plus, featuring thousands of hours of on-demand action.
This has escalated quickly!
Stream groundbreaking originals.
We are all artists.
Get more exclusive content and experience a new and improved accessibility control and freedom like never before.
This night's just getting started!
Watch free without a subscription and stream Impact Plus anytime on your favorite device. Download the Impact Wrestling app now and experience Impact like never before.